couch, yeah.
Hi, I'm Dylan. Welcome back to Dylan's Couch. So I just got back from the Grand Canyon. Here's some pics I took. So yeah, it was pretty awesome. We hiked down into the canyon, then we spent 2 nights down there, and then at 3 a.m. we hiked back out. That part wasn't so awesome since it was 15 miles back up, and it was in 114 degree weather. Oh yeah, and this was a class trip. Our gym teacher, Mr. Chip, took 9 of us out, and yeah, Jessica was there. So on the last day, Jessica got a delivery at the hotel. You see, the last day was Jessica's 14th birthday, and her parents were pretty upset that they couldn't see her on her special day. So they sent her a bunch of roses and a big silver balloon that said happy birthday on it. Ever since she was 3, she's been getting one of those big silver balloons. It's now kind of a family tradition, which was nice and all, but now Jessica had to take all that stuff onto the plane. So the whole van ride back, the driver was asking me about YouTube, because Mr. Chip had told him about this show. And the driver asked me if I'd ever been recognized out on the street. And I'm like, yeah, sometimes. And Jessica's like, not that I've ever seen. So I made a bet with her that at least one person would recognize me on the trip back home. And if they did, she'd have to give me her special balloon. So for the first part of the trip, we flew in a really small plane. I mean, this thing held like only 50 people. And Jessica and I, the very last 2 seats. So here's the aisle, here's me, and here's Jessica. So we put the roses between us on the floor, between our feet, and the balloon on the armrest between us. So things were pretty normal for the first half of the flight, when suddenly, BAM! 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 There was this terrible explosion. Everyone on the plane, including me and Jessica, did this. Ah! Ah! So I look up to see if the plane is still flying. Jessica's panicking, and I see the flight attendant running down the aisle right toward us. When suddenly I realize it was just the balloon. Jessica's happy birthday balloon had exploded. So I flag down the flight attendant, and I'm like, it was just the balloon. And she's like, oh, right. Yeah, that can happen. Oh, really? Well, thanks for telling us that earlier. So then the flight attendant turns around and makes her way down the aisle and stops at every single row and says, it was just the balloon. It was just the balloon. And then everyone turns and faces us with all their scowling faces. A guy 2 rows up turned to his wife and said, geez, I almost crapped myself. Then a guy from across the aisle swings around and says to me, hey, balloon boy, aren't you that kid Dylan from Dylan's Couch? Then it felt like everyone on the plane is trying to crane around to look at me and say, Dylan? From YouTube? And I'm like, no, I swear, I just look like him. After all the commotion and everyone seemed to have calmed down, Jessica turns to me with the ribbon and the dead balloon at the end and says, here you go, you win. It was hilarious. Hilarious. Hilarious.
Dylan's couch, Dylan's couch, Dylan's couch, yeah.
So that's the show, okay? So on the last day, Jessica got a hotel delivery. Ever since she was 3, her parents have been giving her one of those, I messed that up! So I made a bet with her that at least one person could recognize me when we get home. No.
Okay.
So I made a bet with her that at least one person would recognize me on the trip back home. And if they did, they'd have to give me $1. A whole dollar. I like how there's any like written things on it. Maybe some like crayon marks.
Okay.
Or even like a rip out of $1 anyway.